here at Myrtle Beach Speedway for the Big Busch Grand National Race. We'll cover all the action from last weekend's racing action, plus we'll be talking to the winner of the big race here at Myrtle Beach.
ThunderSports Television is brought to you by CarQuest Auto Parts and DuBard Incorporated, your local Budweiser distributor.
Want to try some great fried chicken and make a friend happy too? Well, here's how. Grab a friend, run down to one of the 13 Safeway food stores that serve fresh cooked fried chicken. Buy one of Safeway's delicious two-piece fried chicken dinners. We'll give your friend a two-piece fried chicken dinner free. That's right, buy one two-piece fried chicken dinner at Safeway. Get the second two-piece chicken dinner absolutely free. Hey, have a great meal. Your friend will thank you. Only at your Safeway food stores.
Your best chance to save is now. For 3 days only, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Palmetto Homes must set a record in sales to make room for new homes arriving daily. With 1995 due to arrive soon, these homes must be sold. Palmetto Homes has double wides as low as $19,984. Buy now and save thousands. If you're even thinking about buying a new home, you can't afford to miss this sale, but you must act now. The sale ends Sunday. Palmetto Homes, Palmetto Street across from the airport, Florence.
South Carolina, home to a strong tradition of environmental awareness. DuBard, a business leader in our area, shares and embraces that philosophy. They have created an extensive recycling program to eliminate unnecessary waste. Cardboard is crushed, baled, and reclaimed, conserving our natural resources. It also saves us tremendous amounts of space at local landfills, an important issue in many communities. DuBard Incorporated, environmental responsibility is more than good corporate citizenship. It's good business.
A certain level of excellence, the experience to get the job done right, and a reputation for quality. Like top quality CarQuest shocks and struts, professional technicians choose CarQuest gas charge shocks and struts because they can be confident they're installing the best ride around. So for the best possible performance, install what the pros install. CarQuest. Welcome to the pros.
Last Saturday's Carolina Pride, Budweiser 250 at Myrtle Beach Speedway was led off with a late model stock car 100 for the Winston Racing Series cars. David Hyder took the early lead at the Henry Moree car. Yellow flag early in the racing action was brought out when Kenny Yarborough and Sean Beluzzo spun up in the fourth quarter. Back to the racing action. Charles Powell III, that's about as close as he got all afternoon long in a race that was scheduled to go 100 laps but only went 1 hour or 62 laps. Here we see Kevin Prince battling with John Nemechek, younger brother to Joe Nemechek, and talk about other visitors. Here's Kelly Earnhardt and the Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet. Tony Powell from Hemingway, South Carolina, struck the wall in turn 2. He also helped the side out of the car, driven by Sean Graham, who was running in third place at the time. Back up front, David Hyder, your leader. Hyder moving through the traffic, but further back, a battle between Kenny Yarborough, Keith Farrell, Chuck McConnell, and John Connors as they head down the back straightaway. It's tight all the way around the racetrack, including when Dale Earnhardt Jr. was trying to overtake Sonny Martin. Sonny Martin and he got together, taking both of them out of the race as far as being contenders. Earnhardt was to return, finishing 18th. But the checkered flag went to David Hyder, who's racing for Henry Moree out of Society Hill, South Carolina.
I'll tell you, the car, I can't say enough for it. All the guys that work on it, they work day and night. And I tell you, it runs super. Bobby Roberts put a good motor in that car. And just the team. I mean, we got a good team, and everything comes along together there. The car run good there through the middle of the corner early in the race, and I knew if it run right in the middle of the race there like that, that at the end, if I saved anything at all, the car was going to be tough.
The Nashville Network, of course, covering all the action out in Myrtle Beach Speedway. Jason Keller took the early lead when the green flag fell, flanked by David Green. And point leader Ricky Craven riding in third place, who moved into second to chase Keller in the early going of competition over the .38 miles racetrack. An early yellow flag when Dennis Setzer spun up in the fourth quarter. Luckily, everybody was able to get by, but the battle continued to be up front with Ricky Craven and Keller. Craven finally got by, and the DuPont Auto finishes number 2 to take the lead. Then Eldon Sawyer moved into contention. Sawyer in the Ford, racing for the Ford Red Carpet Lease folks, goes to the lead and battles until Randy LaJoy comes into the picture. LaJoy in the 20 Thinaloop car battles with Eldon Sawyer and finally gets by down in the first quarter. LaJoy looked like he had the race in hand and had saved a set of tires for a final yellow flag stop, but unfortunately, he never got a chance to use those tires. Yellow flag brought out due to sprinkling rain late in the afternoon. That cleared up. We went back to green flag racing. Hermie Sadler went to the point and led at that juncture, followed by Randy Porter. Larry Pearson, the son of the famed David Pearson, Hall of Famer at Darlington, he moved into the lead and had his day under the clouds. Randy LaJoy got hit from behind by Robert Presley, knocked down the tire barrier into the pit wall, suffered a lot of damage, never got to use those tires he was saving for a late yellow flag stop. For Eldon Sawyer, he battled with Kenny Wallace in the late stages of the race. He had fresher tires. What happened? He went on to win. Fortunately, he had a stop-and-go penalty and was able to take on 2 tires, which put him out of sync with everybody else. He took the checkered flag. Congratulations to Eldon Sawyer. Well, congratulations to Eldon Sawyer from ThunderSports Television, our weekly television show on Channel 15 in Florence. Eldon, you finally did it. This is the moment you want to last forever and ever and ever.
Well, you're sure right, Bill. I just can't say enough about Brad and Bob for giving me the opportunity to drive the race car. And Ford Credit and Red Carpet Lease, great sponsors. You know, I just can't say enough about the whole team. You know, I'm really just ecstatic right now about the way things went.
What was the week like for you? Things went pretty well from the time you arrived here. Really no major problems.
Well, the worst thing I did all week was I shanked a golf ball and hit the condos down in the golf course. So, but as far as the race and everything went well, Bob did an outstanding job calling the pits today. I made a big mistake on one of the restarts and jumped. It was my fault. And, you know, he really calmed me down, and I had to get him back in victory lane.
I thought it was a pretty bold move. You just needed to make it to the right rather than the left. How about a big kiss from Patty Moise, your wife? I know you're real proud of her. It wasn't long ago I had you guys on television making up after a race at Orange County. But now you're in victory lane. Hey, this is great.
Well, he gave me an extra $10 not to race here, I guess.
Patty Moise and Eldon Sawyer in victory lane here at Myrtle Beach Speedway for the Carolina Pride Budweiser 250. Top 5 at Myrtle Beach Speedway for the Carolina Pride Budweiser 250. Sawyer in first place, followed by Kenny Wallace. Point leader Ricky Craven finished 3rd. Robert Presley salvaged the 4th place finish. And 5th place saw Jeff Green finish in that position, subbing for Chad Little.
Hi, I'm Jay Rosso with this week's highlights and results from the Florence I-95 Speedway. In the mini stock division, that's Mike Seals and Johnny Warren up front, but Ed Williams from Myrtle Beach would take the lead early, and they would battle Jamie Lee, the current points leader. The battle for 3rd was between Danny Lane, Johnny Warren, and Mike Seals. Seals later was black flagged for rough driving and replaced by Wayne Locklear. A spin in turn 4 eliminated Jamie Lee from capturing a win last Saturday, but Ed Williams had no problems and took the checkered flag. Taking 2nd was Wayne Locklear, followed by Danny Lane. 4th was Jimmy Warren, and 5th, Jamie Lee. Barry Andrews started on the outside pole and grabbed the lead on the opening lap. He led every lap to capture his 3rd win of the season in the 20-lap pure stock main event. Johnny Warren was 2nd, followed by Trey Hall, Billy Smothers, and Scotty Talbert. Current points leader Joey Harper finished 8th. In the Superstock division, Harold Beasley and Dunk Stroud ran up front, but it wouldn't take long for Beasley to flex his car's muscle as he would lead early. Back in the pack, Chris Osborne and Dunk Stroud trade a little paint coming out of turn 4, but Harold Beasley coasted to his 5th win of the season and 4th in a row. 2nd went to Roy Welsh, 3rd was Richard Kelly, followed by Chris Osborne, and 5th went to Dunk Stroud. In the late model division at the Florence I-95 Speedway, Todd Kelly and Hal McGraw were on the point, but David Hyder, who only hours ago won the late model race at Myrtle Beach Speedway, charged to the front, and he took the lead from Hal McGraw. Hyder led the remaining 37 laps and never looked back. Caution on lap 3 involving Jim Reams and Mike Cox slowed action down, but when the green flag conditions came back on the track, it was McGraw and Kelly battling for 2nd. Kelly would win that battle and take 2nd, but he was never able to get around David Hyder. Hyder captured his second win of the year at the Florence I-95 Speedway. Second went to Kelly. In third place, it was Hal McGraw. He was followed by Johnny Howell. And Gilbert King rounds out your top 5.
When ThunderSports Television returns, Jay Rosso will be talking to Tom Hewitt, owner of the Florence Darlington Dragway, about the 1994 International Hot Rod Association Scotchgard Automotive Protectors ET Bracket Series. A lot of racing around the area. Don't forget racing tonight. Regular feature show at the Florence I-95 Raceway, but next weekend on June the 25th, it's NASCAR Souvenir Night. They're also bringing the Legends cars back in. That should be a lot of excitement for fans at Florence I-95 Raceway. Myrtle Beach Speedway running all 4 divisions tonight and next Saturday night with commercial credit nights both weekends.
Southern Lifestyle Homes in Florence says, don't rent. Southern Lifestyle Homes has a large selection of single wides and double wides. Many different sizes and styles to choose from. Brand new Fleetwood 14 wide, 2 bedrooms, many other extras, now only $107 a month. Don't wait. Take advantage of the lowest interest rate in years. Have a nice day and come and see us at Southern Lifestyle Homes, 1626 East Palmetto Street in Florence.
Hello, I'm Chip Holbrooks. Come in and get the first look at Holbrooks Diamond Showroom. As of today, my cases are empty, but within days, I'll show you a $4 million inventory. We got a bigger store, we got a better location, but we still got the same great prices that got us here. This is it, the brand new Holbrooks Diamond Showroom. Look for our grand opening. But for now, I'm at 1807 West Palmetto Street, 5 Points in Florence. Come in today and register for $15,000 in cash and prizes. Don't miss out.
As an Anheuser-Busch distributor, DuBard Incorporated works hard at being a conscientious corporate neighbor. From employee assistance to recycling programs, they take pride in making our communities better places to live.
We try to give back as much as we can. We live here too. We try to sponsor as many local events as we can. Sometimes we have to say no. We shy away from youth and underage activities. And most people understand that when we explain our reservations.
DuBard Incorporated, good corporate citizenship. It's also good business.
My dad's a doctor, and you have to be real smart to be a doctor. Well, my dad fixes cars, and he's a lot smarter than your dad, because a doctor only has 2 models to fix, men and women, and they never change. My dad has to know how to fix hundreds of car models, and they change every year.
Well, my dad helps your dad keep your dad's car running right, and that's his store.
CarQuest, preferred by professional automotive technicians.
I'm Jay Rosso standing with Tom Hewitt, owner of the drag strip. Tom, how many cars showed up for today's event?
At the present time, I think I got about 60. Needless to say, the weather has been very detrimental to us today, and we don't have near as many as we expected at this time of day, but hopefully as the day goes on, more will come in.
Now, this is the first time an event like this has come here. How does that make you feel? Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I'm right excited about it. If we'd had good weather, hopefully would have been room to walk, but, you know, that's one of the things you can't fight is the weather. You can't make it change or what have you, you know.
What does this mean to your track?
Well, it gives me publicity, gives me more stamina, you know, and just gives the track more credibility.
And now they put on a pretty good show here, don't they?
Yeah, well, as you well know, we run every Saturday night, and we've got a pretty good show of our own, but something like this is something that you look forward to, you know,
Okay, now, there's... a lot of people think that, you know, drag racing is the first one to the end wins, but there's something called bracket racing. Could you explain that?
Okay, well, used to run classes, and the time for the class may be set in California or Canada or New York, and whatever the class was that you ran in, you had to run off of that time. Well, it got to the point where it's kind of like NASCAR. You got so much money involved, all the money people dominated the classes, and drag racing was dying. So they came up with what they call bracket racing, where theoretically speaking, you have 2 national record holders every run, because they set their record during time trials, and then they put this time on the car, and they go out there and they run, you know, off of the time that they set or the record that they set for this particular day. to keep it honest, if you go under what you have dialed in or your record, well, you lose. So you're kind of racing the clock as much as you are the other guy.
And what does that mean for the sport of drag racing?
Well, it brought it back to life because it took the money end out of it. In other words, you can go as fast as you want to go, but you still have to dial in your time or dial in your record to run off of, and it makes it much more even, and it takes the money part out of it, where the average guy can race. Sure.
Now, will the IHRA, will they be more involved with your track?
Well, hopefully we'll be doing this on a year. This is a brand new series that IHRA has started. They're going to run a 10-race series. This is the second race of the series. And hopefully next year it'll be bigger and we'll have better weather and it'll be a bigger race, I mean, what can I say?
I'm Jay Russell with a look at the results from this weekend's action at the Florence Darlington Dragway. In the top sportsman class, it was Irby Golf from Lexington, South Carolina, taking the win. In top dragster, the winner was Sam Stevens from Chapin, South Carolina. In the ET1 and ET2 brackets, the winner was Russell Miller from Darlington, South Carolina. In the ET3 bracket race, it was Ronnie McCutcheon from Florence, South Carolina with the win. Ronnie was also the overall winner this past weekend. We caught up with him and got these comments.
I'd like to thank Tommy Hewitt for bringing the bracket series to Florence. This is our first big win of the year, and we're really excited. And hopefully we can maybe make it to a few other races at the end of the year.
For more drag racing action, don't forget tonight, 8 p.m. at the Florence Darlington Dragway.
What was amazing in the 70s, stock car racing fans wanted souvenirs, T-shirts, model cars of their favorite drivers. There was no one around to supply those items at that time. Suddenly, several years ago in Myrtle Beach, the very first souvenir store opened. It opened at Briarcliff Mall. Now there are 4 locations of the fourth turn. And for Brian Glover and your wife, Sue Ann, this became an inspiration to really follow NASCAR racing. What are the hot, popular items right now, Brian?
At this point in time, Bill, I think it's the wearables, the hats, the T-shirts, the jackets. Actually, some of the jackets nowadays are becoming collectibles. The high-dollar leather jackets that they're producing only hundreds of instead of thousands of toy cars and that situation. Cars, certain product lines of the cars are doing well. But in the last 2 years, 3 years, the market has been flooded with certain product lines of cars and for different drivers. So you look for the limited edition, the one of 15,000, those kind of things. They're still good, but the cards and the cars have gone away a little bit. Now it's wearables.
What is it about the racing fan? When they walk into your store, what do they ask you for, and what's in demand?
They want something they can put on their back that shows everybody who they root for. That's it. The collectibles are something they put away, but they want everybody to know the driver they like and the make of car that they drive to show the speed of the sport.
Who's the most popular driver right now? Who's everybody asking for? And he outsells everybody. It's got to be
Dale Earnhardt.
The Intimidator. He's the guy that sells more collectibles, more souvenir items than anyone else. It got to be so big that a former guy who resided here at the beach who sold sunglasses down on the boulevard, Hank Jones, started Sports Image with Dale Earnhardt as a partner, and they market the Dale Earnhardt merchandise exclusively. This week's Tech Tip brought to you by PartsMart Auto Parts. Our tech tip this week comes from Buck Burkett of the Mike Wallace Group. Buck, we just saw you adding some type of radiator sealer into the radiator of Mike Wallace's car. It's got to be a brand new engine. Why are we sealing the radiator and the cooling system so quickly?
Well, it's not really because of leaks or anything like this. More like preventive maintenance. This is compound of aluminum filings, small metallic filings that mix in with the oil, with the coolant, and as it circulates through the system, it coats the inside of the system. And if in fact there was a small leak, it would go to that spot and close it up for us.
The average race fan says, gee, they must have a radiator leak or something's wrong with the cooling system. No, that's not the case at all. As a matter of fact, if you go to Daytona or any super speedway, when they crank these motors up the first time and generate some heat, there could be a little small seepage. They're just putting a little insurance in there in the form of aluminum filings from Radiator Specialty. Where are they located? Charlotte, North Carolina. It's how they got their start in the aftermarket automotive business. This week's Tech Tip brought to you by PartsMart Auto Parts.
ThunderSports Television is brought to you by CarQuest Auto Parts and Dubard Incorporated, your local Budweiser distributor.
At Anderson Oil, we're here to serve you. Whether you're an independent farmer or a large commercial farm, Anderson Oil offers all grades of gasoline, including road diesel, dyed farm fuel, and tax-free off-road fuel. Get fast delivery anytime you need it. Weekend delivery? No problem. Call locally or toll-free. Even pick it up yourself at any of our convenient sit-go locations. Our easy credit terms make purchasing easy, too. Anderson Oil.
Your best chance to save is now. For 3 days only, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Palmetto Homes must set a record in sales to make room for new homes arriving daily. With 1995 due to arrive soon, these homes must be sold. Palmetto Homes has double wides as low as $19,984. Buy now and save thousands. If you're even thinking about buying a new home, you can't afford to miss this sale, but you must act now. The sale ends Sunday. Palmetto Homes, Palmetto Street across from the airport, Florence.
Making it to the pros takes a certain level of excellence, the experience to get the job done right, and a reputation for quality. Having what you need on hand, putting the parts together for the best possible performance. Being in the pros takes a special brand of confidence, and for professionally trained technicians, that confidence is CarQuest. CarQuest. Welcome to the pros.
South Carolina, home to a strong tradition of environmental awareness. Dubard, a business leader in our area, shares and embraces that philosophy. They have created an extensive recycling program to eliminate unnecessary waste. Cardboard is crushed, baled, and reclaimed, conserving our natural resources. It also saves us tremendous amounts of space at local landfills, an important issue in many communities. Dubard Incorporated. Environmental responsibility is more than good corporate citizenship. It's good business.
At the Lakeview Speedway, they've got a mini modified four-cylinder class, and this guy happens to be winning all the races, Ronnie Goodwin. Ronnie, what makes you so competitive?
Well, I got a good crew here. My brother built a good motor, and we got sponsorship, Scott and the Painter Rockers. But, we used, last year we didn't do good at this track. But this year, we seem to, we the heat right now.
What can you do to these cars to modify them?
Oh, you run off. Well, this Pontiac here is not the forward. Most of them run forward, but got aluminum intake and the headers, and and we done a lot of work. We've got a cylinder head shop in Lawrenceburg, and we do a lot of work on our head. So that's where our horsepower is coming from right now.
You obviously take a lot of pride in what you do. You've got a beautiful-looking race car here for dirt. You take it home each week, and it's all dirty, but when it comes back to the racetrack, it's in pristine condition. Why is that?
We got, like I said, we got a body man up there that does a good job, and we take pride in, in a good-looking race car. So that's tough, way to go, be first class.
Are you going to win the championship here at Lakeview this year?
I sure hope so. Just, like I said, we just keep having good luck. We'll be all right.
Ronnie Goodwin, he's optimistic about his racing season here at Lakeview. He could very well be the track champion when they throw the checkered flag for the final race this season. The Legends of Racing, brought to you by PD State Bank. Talking about legends of the sports, back when dirt tracking was the big thing in the Carolinas, Myrtle Beach Speedway was a dirt track. Everybody was running basically sportsman-type cars, steel bodies. They were heavy. One Friday night, appearing here at Myrtle Beach were two strange race cars. Most of the locals laughed at them. They were winged, lots of plastic. kind of strange, lots of aluminum, but they flew around this racetrack. Everybody knows one of those guys named now, Ed Howe. He was the guy that put together the cars, but the other one said winning race cars, which basically stood for Rodney Combs out of Lost Creek, West Virginia. You came in here that night in 1980 and revolutionized what we saw as dirt track cars at that time.
Well, we really did, you know, when we come to this place, and, you know, that's when we first started coming down south from up north, and I was one of the early ones, along with Ed Howe, that come down this way, and, you know, we had a lot of people look at our stuff and look a lot different, like you said, but, you know, we come in here, and I think in 20-something laps, we had the field lapped, and, you know, and just going on to both of us, and, you know, and I guess it started a lot of press and PR and a lot of good for Rodney Combs and Ed Howe, and, you know, and we come down here, a lot of effort out, won a lot of races, and got to, you know, run with a lot of people from the south. It was very good, and I mean some greats, you know, I mean, and, you know, now to come back and to lead this thing, and, you know, the last 3 weeks, man, I think at Charlotte, I thought I was going to get the win one there, had motor trouble, go to Dover, you know, didn't quite get to lead it, run second a long time, had a motor trouble. You know, we come here, led this thing, but we got to finish, but had a tire go down, and, you know, we're just that close of winning one of these things, but we're going to get it, and I think everybody knows, but everybody raced good, and, you know, I just can't wait to get one for French's and Pontiac and Richard Petty's 201.
This guy has really tried hard. What he didn't tell you was he was a National Dirt Track Racing Association champion. He won hundreds of races on the dirt, but this asphalt thing, you're getting close, Rodney.
Well, we won a lot from about 75, 78. We won a lot of races on the pavement. Some with ASA, some at Winchester, some against Mark Martin, Bob Seneker, Rusty Wallace. You know, so we have won some of that short track pavement, but it was an ASA all-pro type cars. But we're going to do it in this Busch circuit, and when we get it done here, we're going to go on up and hopefully get one of them Winston Cup deals.
Always a good guy, and a guy that certainly revolutionized dirt track racing back in the early 80s. Rodney Combs from Lost Creek, West Virginia, now residing in Concord, North Carolina. The Legends of Racing, brought to you by PD State Bank. There's nothing like the elation of winning a race, especially your first race, and that's just what Eldon Sawyer did in the Carolina Pride Budweiser 250. Until next week, when we start covering all the short tracks once again, I'm Bill Hennessy for ThunderSports Television. We'll see you at the races.
The Source. Saturday, a tribute to TV's greatest. Bob Newhart, Dick Clark, Bill Donahue, and many more are honored by the Television Academy Hall of Fame. Then, an all-new interactive adventure.
I didn't do anything.
You are the cop. You solved the crime.
So who's lying? And why?
Police File after the Television Academy Hall of Fame, Saturday on ABC.
Making it to the pros takes a certain level of excellence, the experience to get the job done right, and a reputation for quality. Like AC firing spark plugs from CarQuest. AC spark plugs heat fast and fire hot, improving your car's performance. AC gives you the spark you need all season long. So for the best possible performance, install what the pros install. CarQuest. Welcome to the pros.
South Carolina, home to a strong tradition of environmental awareness. DuBard, a business leader in our area, shares and embraces that philosophy. They have created an extensive recycling program to eliminate unnecessary waste. Cardboard is crushed, baled, and reclaimed, conserving our natural resources. It also saves us tremendous amounts of space at local landfills, an important issue in many communities. DuBard Incorporated. Environmental responsibility is more than good corporate citizenship. It's good business.
Covering local sports like no other. 15 News at Ken Slatz.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Hennessy, and this is ThunderSports Television, an inside look at the world of high-speed racing on the area short tracks. We'll be covering all the action at Florence I-95, Myrtle Beach Speedway, and here at the new Lakeview Speedway, where the skies are threatening right now.
ThunderSports Television is brought to you by CarQuest Auto Parts and DuBard Incorporated, your local Budweiser distributor.
Do you remember that lizard man?
That's right, we made him into a boat, brother.
That's right, we've made him into boats. Let me tell you one thing. We don't care if it's the lizard man or any kind of man.
Yeah.
We're going to make it right here. That's
Right
how you
here,
can
brother.
save money. Let me tell you another thing, brother, how we can save you a lot of money.
Yeah,
A truckload of snakes was headed down to Riverbank Zoo.
What
the
happened,
truck turned over, and all the snakes are dead. Me and my brother went and got the snakes. We're going to make them into these snake boots. That's how you can buy these snake boots. And how much? Half off, half off. Snake boots right here. Shoes, etc. downtown Lake City.
Southern Lifestyle Homes of Conway says, see us before you buy a home. 1994 specials include a great selection of used homes, many that we can finance ourselves. We offer a conventional land home program. Finance your land and home with us. No down payment to qualified landowners and a low 5% down payment on all new homes. Credit problems? Contact us for our in-house finance program. Southern Lifestyle Homes, 1365 Highway 501 East, Conway. See us before you buy a home.
As an Anheuser-Busch distributor, DuBard Incorporated works hard at being a conscientious corporate neighbor. From employee assistance to recycling programs, they take pride in making our communities better places to live.
We try to give back as much as we can. We live here too. We try to sponsor as many local events as we can. Sometimes we have to say no. We shy away from youth and underage activities. And most people understand that when we explain our reservations.
DuBard Incorporated, good corporate citizenship. It's also good business.
If you have had a problem obtaining automobile insurance or have a problem driving record with accidents and tickets, call Foster Insurance Agency. If you need a SR22, call Foster Insurance Agency for an estimate, easy payment plan, and fast service. You may even get your license back that same day. At Foster Insurance Agency, handling your insurance problems is our specialty.
As is the case, summertime brings showers, especially late in the afternoon. And that's what washed out the activities this past Friday night at the new Lakeview Speedway. Showers started falling about 5:30 and continued through the evening. There was no racing at Lakeview. Let's take a look at what took place down at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Mini stock racing action. John Wadzinski tries to jump to the inside of Lindbergh Smith, the pole sitter, but Jimmy Warren and Lindbergh were battled for the first part of the race with Jimmy Warren taking the lead. There we go, spinning around out of turn 4, recovering, but later would be involved in another little crash. Lindbergh Smith overheats his tires, gets sideways in front of Tony Cox, who was later to crash in the second quarter to be taken out of the action. Jimmy Warren still running up front. Finally, we crash and we're out for the evening. Little Dodge got sidelined with a lot of nose damage. Jimmy Warren, though, would take a checkered flag. Winning at Myrtle Beach Speedway in commercial credit night of the race. Lindbergh Smith second. Dub Fulford came in third. John Wadzinski was fourth. Bob Levine captured fifth place in the mini stock race. Moving now to the street division, Terry Smith and Chucky Huck started on the front row, followed by Michael Miller and Louis Lewis Jr. in the 31 car, Randall Roberts in the 91. A tight duel for first place between Hucks and Smith. Hucks in the 76, Smith in the 00 car, Louis Lewis riding in third place. Chucky Huck's motor went sour. He was sidelined, dropping him out of contention for the win. Randall Roberts involved in a crash, along with Ricky Martin, who was involved. And another car there, Brent Brinson, I'm pretty sure. Those cars, both of them sidelined after a hard run in the early going. And for Ricky Smith, it means he'll forego lunch for a few weeks till he gets his car back on the racetrack. Terry Smith wound up the winner. Louis Lewis was second. Greg Todd third. Mike Miller fourth. Dean Cumby had his best finish of the year, fifth place. Moving now to the Charger race, Tommy Watts and Georgie Macklin on the front row. This would be an exciting race all evening long. Macklin out of shape out of turn 4. Watts with the lead. David Henderson riding in second place. Look at this going down the back straightaway. Sandwiched in between is Ron Miller. Mike Curtis, along with Georgie Macklin, go to the outside retaining wall. Curtis was later taken to the hospital, had a small concussion. He's back at work now after being released on Monday. But Tommy Watts took over the point again. Watts led to Monte Carlo for a number of laps until David Henderson was able to pass in turn 4. Henderson looking for his 10th win on the season, pulled away in the Jimmy Summers Roofing Chevrolet Camaro that captured the checkered flag. Tommy Watts ran second. Ron Miller came back to run third. Wade Skipper in a Ford ran fourth. Fifth place went to Kevin Barnhill. Moving now to the late model stock car race, the 100-lapper Myrtle Beach Speedway inverted the top 7 drivers following qualifying. And we see Sean Graham and Terry Lee from North Myrtle Beach battling with each other. A spin in the third quarter as the Dale Earnhardt Jr. car sideways in the middle of the track. A little farther behind him is Kenny Yarborough getting sideways. Bobby Harrelson also involved in that. Back on the green flag racing action, Sean Graham took over the lead. Kenny Francis up from Jacksonville, Florida, riding in second place. Charles Powell III rode in third till the closing laps of the contest. Now, Trip McClendon gets into the side of Sean Graham and spins around the Tabor City dentist, going a lap down there. But back up front, Sean Graham and CP3 Charles Powell III were to battle each other tooth and nail, actually pounding on each other, going around the racetrack. Here they're side by side. A little love shove between the two half-brothers out of Somerville and Monk's Corner. There they are, right at it again. Coming back around to take the checkered flag, though, it's interesting to see who was out front. The man who had the checkered flag was Sean Graham. Watch this, right at the end of it. Brother CP3 gets into the back of him, spins him around. There's your top 5 from Myrtle Beach Speedway late model stock car racing action. Charles Powell III later disqualified, not for his own track activities, but for failure to tear down in post-race inspection. They were packing in the track in anticipation of a big run at Lakeview Speedway, but that didn't happen due to the rain. We had the opportunity to talk to Wayne Gray Jr. and Jack Pennington. When you're hot, you're hot. That's exactly what Wayne Gray Jr. is at the new Lakeview Speedway and also up at the Fayetteville Speedway. 5 of 6 wins, last 3 in a row at Lakeview up until last Friday night. How do you do it?
I don't know. Just got a good handling race car and a good motor operation going, and just seems to be working real good.
What is it about dirt that you like so much?
I guess it's just that you can come down here and you race, and racetrack's going to stay the same pretty much every week, and you can just get a little dirty and go with it.
Takes a good handling race car. Who is Joey Chapman, and what has he done to further your career on dirt?
He's built me a fine race car. I mean, it's he's built it from the ground up, and he just knows the setup, and we just got it set up right.
4 cylinders seem to be becoming more popular in many stock racing on asphalt and on dirt track racing. What is it about the 4 cylinders that you think are gaining such great popularity?
I guess that it's just you ain't got to spend a whole bunch of money in them. I mean, you know, you spend money, but you don't have to spend a bunch of money to go fast, you know.
Tell us about your wins up at the new Fayetteville Speedway. What's happening up there? Because you're kind of out of our viewing area a little bit.
Yeah, we've done pretty good up there. We've won, like I say, 2 in a row up there, and kind of got off on the handle a little bit up there because it's a little bit different track. We got it all back, and it's just, we race against the same people that we race against here, and we just got good competition.
For Wayne Gray Jr., he's been taking those checkered flags at the new Lakeview Speedway and also at the Fayetteville Speedway. He's quite a competitor. It'll be interesting to see how many he wins here in the 1994 racing season. One of the true masters of dirt track racing, Jack Pennington, has been paying a number of visits to the new Lakeview Speedway. And Jack, over the years, you've raced go-karts all the way up to Busch Grand National Racing. Now you're running the dirt rather frequently again. Why are you back on the dirt?
Money's got a lot to do with it.
Money seems to be a big topic of conversation with everybody. What's it costing to race an operation these days?
Well, I tell you, I don't know about the dirt right now. It costs a lot of money to run. You know, you got to run for the big money. You can't hardly go to a regular show now that pays $800 to $1,000 to win, and you know, you might break even. But later on down the road, when you pay $20,000 for a motor, you know, you got to come up with that somewhere or another. So myself, I got to run, you know, for $5,000 if I can. Sometimes I can't, but when there is one around, you know, within 200 or 300 miles, that's where we go.
Did it surprise you that there'd ever be $100,000 to win at a dirt track, and a guy like Freddie Smith, who you beat frequently, should go and win that money?
Well, he had a lot of luck, I know, and of course he's good anyway, but I didn't think that nobody would pay that, you know, right now. But, you know, with the sponsors they got, evidently, you know, they come up with enough money. Plus, I had never been there, and I think that place holds about 20,000 people, and $50 a head, I think what it was, or something to get in, so, you know. I'm sure they're going to run another one.
Let's talk a little bit about your career. You started in go-karts a long time ago down in Georgia, got really good at it. Then you made your transition to dirt. then you went to asphalt racing and ran the Busch Grand National Series for a period of about 2 seasons, and you did pretty good. You had a good run at Darlington and an excellent run at Charlotte Motor Speedway. What was that experience like?
Well, I tell you, it's about like the difference in the go-kart racing and dirt track racing. I mean, it's really not nothing the same. We run Winston Cup after we run Busch for about 6 races, and we run pretty good. And you know, it was a money deal and experience too, because I didn't have no experience with them kind of cars running at that speed. But you know, we was getting better every race, and the equipment was getting better. But you know, it's one of them deals. I didn't have a good enough name, and we couldn't get a big sponsor, so we decided to get out of it.
You viewed it from both sides. We take a look at IndyCar racing. We see guys who are coming in. Their talent is basically on the hip, a wad of cash. We're seeing a wad of cash now buy rides in Winston Cup racing, especially at Indianapolis. I understand there's a guy shopping around with $100,000 in his pocket to put somebody in a Cup car for the Indianapolis Brickyard 400. When you take a look at it now, what would it take for a dirt track driver to make it to the Winston Cup?
Well, it just take somebody, you know, my name's pretty good around the southeast, but, you know, when you go out to Kansas or Dover, Delaware, you know, nobody's never heard of me, and that's what NASCAR is looking for. They're looking for somebody that can sell it. Driving part, to a lot of them, you know, don't make, you know, if they can drive a race car, that's fine, but if they can sell them, they can sell a product, help them sell a product, that's what they have to. If they win a race, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine.
Jack's pretty well summed it up there. Oftentimes, it's not driving talent anymore. It's your looks, it's your personality, and how much money you're carrying in sponsorship to get a ride, especially in the top echelons of racing. There was a guy that was there that put on quite a show when I saw him at Charlotte and Darlington, and his short term in a Cup car. He's back on dirt. Always does a great job. Jack Pennington. When ThunderSports Television returns, we'll be taking a look at all the action from Florence I-95 Raceway from this past Saturday night. But letting you know what's on the calendar for tonight's racing activity, Myrtle Beach Speedway has commercial credit night race time at 7:30. Florence I-95 Raceway featuring NASCAR Souvenir Night. Green flag to fall at 8 o'clock. Drag racing, the Straight Line Warriors will be racing at the Rockingham Dragway. Cheerwine, Sunoco Pro Modified Shootout, July 2nd and 3rd. Don't miss it. ThunderSports comes back in a moment.
The Safeway food stores have 12 ways to save you money this month. For example, 12 pieces of fried chicken. That's right, 12 pieces of Safeway's delicious, mouth-watering, hot and spicy, or southern fried chicken. And 4 biscuits, all for only $5.99. Or buy 12 packs of Budweiser or 12 packs of Coors Light, all for only $6.89. So there you have it, 12 ways to save big bucks at your local Safeway.
You can come on over to the Safeway taste.
South Carolina, home to a strong tradition of environmental awareness. DuBard, a business leader in our area, shares and embraces that philosophy. They have created an extensive recycling program to eliminate unnecessary waste. Cardboard is crushed, baled, and reclaimed, conserving our natural resources. It also saves us tremendous amounts of space at local landfills, an important issue in many communities. DuBard Incorporated. Environmental responsibility is more than good corporate citizenship. It's good business.
Takes a certain level of excellence, the experience to get the job done right, and a reputation for quality. Like top quality Champion spark plugs from CarQuest, Champion gets your engine started fast and running its best. No matter what you drive, Champion keeps you fired up and in the game. So for the best possible performance, install what the pros install. CarQuest. Welcome to the pros.
Hi, I'm Jay Rosso with this week's highlights and results from the Florence I-95 Speedway. In the mini-stock division, Mike Seals and Ronnie Jackson were running up front. Seals would take the early lead. That's until caution comes out when Ricky Locklear spins his car coming out of turn 4. Luckily, everybody gets by without injury. Mike Seals ran up front until current points leader Jamie Lee puts the heat on and finally gets around him. Seals' night only got worse when his car loses control and runs into the tire barrier on the front stretch. Jamie Lee goes on to capture his 8th win of the season after starting dead last in the field. Dean Curtis finished second, followed by Danny Lane in third. Coming in fourth was Ronnie Jackson, and rounding out your top 5 in the mini-stock division was Bob Bowman. Racing was as hot as the weather's been lately in the Superstock division. Richard and Brodus Kelly from Hartsville, South Carolina started on the front row. Brodus Kelly would lead the first 5 laps of this race, but the action was just heating up as we see Harold Beasley and Jimmy Johnson racing side by side. Then on lap 6, Richard takes the lead from kinsman Brodus Kelly. Spin on the front stretch between last week's winner Harold Beasley and current points leader Jimmy Johnson brought out the caution flag. And then the action went from hot to boiling point as tempers flared between Beasley and Johnson. As Beasley's car was towed in, he would lose his bid for a 5th win in a row. After order was restored, Richard Kelly started a charge for his 3rd win of the season at Florence I-95 Speedway. The battle for second saw Dunk Shroud holding off Chris Osborne. Congrats go to Richard Kelly on his win last Saturday night. Second went to Dunk Shroud, followed by Chris Osborne. Pole sitter Brodus Kelly was 4th, and 5th went to Scott Pruitt. In the late model division, that's Hal McGraw and Ron Barfield Jr. starting on the front row. Those two would battle for the lead until Barfield's car slips going into turn 4 and McGraw takes the lead. Then Todd Kelly gets under McGraw in turn 3, and he takes the lead for good in the 40-lap late model event at Florence I-95 Speedway. Watch Johnny Howell as his car gets loose coming out of 4. He gathers the car up, and then it slides, and Rudy Branham just misses him. Finally, the car comes to a rest on the front stretch. Current points leader and Eastern Seaboard regional leader Todd Kelly went on to capture his 11th win of the season. Second went to Hal McGraw. He's followed by Gilbert King, Ron Barfield Jr., and Rudy Branham. And if you're wondering, Johnny Howell finished 7th. The main event of the evening was the 50-lap pure stock race. Trey Hall started on the pole and he led the first 8 laps. And then Barry Andrews passes Hall down the back stretch and he would lead the remaining 42 laps. Here we see points leader Joey Harper getting a little loose in turn 2, but the night belonged to Barry Andrews as he captures his 2nd win in a row.
I thank Rudy's Logging of Darlington. He's helped me out a lot this year. That's David Freeman. I'd like to thank R Trucking of Darlington. I just picked him up as a sponsor. The car worked real good tonight, and hey, what can I say? 2 in a row.
We also asked Barry what it would take him for win the points championship in the pure stock division.
To win the points title this year, it's going to take a lot of good, strong finishes and not fall out the races this year. I've fallen out about 2 or 3 races this year from accidents and just got to keep finishing races.
And looking at the top 5 in the pure stock main event, it was Barry Andrews first, second went to Trey Hall, third was J.D. Norton, Woody Hall finishes 4th, and David Blackwell rounds out the top 5. I'm Jay Russell with this week's feature for ThunderSports Television. I'm with the owner and operator of the Florence I-95 Speedway, Francis Weeks. Francis, last week you had a little bit of action there, maybe a little bit too much, between Harold Beasley and Jimmy Johnson.
Yes, we did.
What happened there with those two?
Well, one of them got onto the other one, and it was sort of a racing accident, but still Jimmy Johnson hit him in the rear and spun him, and then Harold Beasley got out of his car and went to Jimmy's car, and which was a no-no as far as NASCAR goes and the racetrack, because if the races haven't stopped, it can be very dangerous. And NASCAR imposed a suspension and a fine for him, but really Harold wasn't in the wrong as far as the accident went. He was in the wrong as far as getting out of his car.
Now, with the track itself, there's been a lot of rumors flying around that it's for sale. Are any of those true, or?
No, it isn't for sale.
It's not for sale at all?
No, it isn't.
Okay, now you yourself, how did you get involved? You can tell by your accent that you're not from around here.
Right. I came to Georgia about 5 years ago and had the Brunswick Golden Isle Speedway in Brunswick, Georgia. And I had that for a year. That was a dirt track, oil base. I sold that and then went to Bronson, Florida, and had a little 3rd mile track. And I was in partners with another guy down there. And I decided that partnership, I kind of wanted a speedway of my own where I'd had one prior to it. And so I found out this one was for sale, and it was a NASCAR track, and I wanted to get up into NASCAR. So I came up here and sold my interest out of in Florida and came up and bought this track.
Now, with you wear many hats here. I mean, you're owner, promoter, operator. I even saw you last week, you were lawnmower.
Right. I've even been the flagman on occasion here and there. I used to flag at one time at speedways prior to coming to Florida and Georgia and so on, and so I can do it. I've been up there and know how it's done, and I don't know how good I am at it, but I work at it.
And it's also a family-operated business, isn't it?
Yes, it is. My son and Florence, we work here as a family.
Now, what special events do you have coming up here?
We've got the Goody Dash coming back in July 16th, and also we have the American Winged Outlaws, which is coming on the 22nd, and that will be on a Friday night. They're a sprint car. I believe they have never been here before. You see them a lot on TV, and they really put on a good show. I had them in Georgia when I had the race track down there, and they put on a whale of a show for us down there.
Sure. Now, what is the future of the I-95 Speedway?
Well, of course, it's a NASCAR sanctioned track, and we want to keep it that way, and we've been trying to improve and upgrade different areas. We're going to work next year, I think, on the pit area, and also every year we have to put so much time into the bleachers and so on, and you know, we just want to upgrade it, make it a decent track, a good family track, so people can bring their families to it.
It really is a family-oriented track, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I understand before I came that there used to be a lot of fighting every week, and we try to cut that down. And being an ex-police officer myself, I feel that I can talk with the people, and if I see something starting, I'll go right to it. And my son is good at it too, and we try to head it off right then and there. And it isn't that people come to the Speedway to fight; it's the idea that they can't come to see good racing and so on. And because being a racetrack, I don't care where you go, whether it's at Darlington, Daytona, or Charlotte, one of them speedways, tempers always do flare. And you know, if you can just settle them down for 2 to 5 minutes, and then usually they see the reasoning behind it, and that ends it right there.
Well, let's talk about Francis Weeks. 5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
I'm hoping I'm going to be right here, and I'd like to make this a super track. In other words, not a super speedway, but I would like to see that improvements more on the track and the stand situation, better concessions, make it so that we can sell hamburgers and better restrooms and stuff like this. I just want to see it a good family track. As I say, my family works here, and they work very hard. We work 7 days a week, and sometimes you don't realize it, but like you said the other day, that you come out here and I was mowing grass. We do everything. We feel that if we can do it, then and make it look that much better and more presentable for the public, and easier for the families to come here and bring their families and have a good time.
This week's Tech Tip brought to you by Parts Mart Auto Parts.
In this week's Tech Tip, we're talking air conditioning. Steve Stokes, president of Parts Mart's Auto Parts, will tell you how you can save big money on your AC bill.
What we're looking at is an air conditioning temperature thermometer. This time of year, as hot as it is, a lot of people don't really know what their car should be cooling at. The professionals have been using this for years, but it's also available to the consumer. All you do is you take it and you put it in your vent, turn your air conditioning on, and you should get a reading 35 to 30 degrees difference with what the outside temperature is. If you're not getting that reading, then you probably got an air conditioning leak somewhere. You should carry it in and get it checked out before you have additional problems, which would cost you $100 to $200.
This week's Tech Tip brought to you by Parts Mart Auto Parts.
ThunderSports Television is brought to you by CarQuest Auto Parts and DuBard Incorporated, your local Budweiser distributor.
As an Anheuser-Busch distributor, DuBard Incorporated works hard at being a conscientious corporate neighbor. From employee assistance to recycling programs, they take pride in making our communities better places to live.
We try to give back as much as we can. We live here too. We try to sponsor as many local events as we can. Sometimes we have to say no. We shy away from youth and underage activities. And most people understand that when we explain our reservations.
DuBard Incorporated, good corporate citizenship. It's also good business.
Making it to the pros. takes a certain level of excellence, the experience to get the job done right, and a reputation for quality. Like top-quality CarQuest shocks and struts, professional technicians choose CarQuest gas-charged shocks and struts because they can be confident they're installing the best ride around. So for the best possible performance, install what the pros install. CarQuest. Welcome to the pros.
Look, I'm on a busy schedule, so I hate to drive 45 minutes to some great big supermarket, and then it takes forever to find the groceries I need. Give me a store that's convenient and not so big. Give me a store that just sells groceries, for Pete's sake. A supermarket that just sells groceries. What a concept.
The Legends of Racing, brought to you by PD State Bank. Truly one of the legends of stock car racing, and a member of the Alabama gang, Donnie Allison. Donnie, you've had many exciting moments in the world of motorsports. One especially when you won for Banjo Matthews. Could you relate that to us?
Oh, it had to be in 1970 when I ran Indy and ran fourth and won Rookie of the Year at Indianapolis, and came back the next day and won the World 600.
This guy in open-wheel cars was a terror. Had he taken the IndyCar route, you may have been the most successful IndyCar driver that came out of stock car racing. You had a fourth place up there, and nobody has ever equaled you there.
No, well, you know, now in this day and time, the divisions are so separate. You know, back then I ran super modifieds a lot. When I got an IndyCar to drive one, it wasn't that difficult for me. I mean, I liked the cars, and I think that's why I did well in them.
Racing stock cars, everybody remembers 1979, CBS television, out of turn 3. Donnie Allison was on his way to victory in Hoss Ellington's car. And, of course, another one of our viewers, Cale Yarborough, was involved in a little skirmish with you down the back straightaway. You often told me that you wouldn't do anything any different. I imagine that still holds true because Donnie Allison always was going for one thing, and that was what?
Yeah, I damn sure wasn't going to run second. And I wouldn't run second again if it came about again. I think I did the right thing then, and I would do it again.
One of the toughest competitors in the sport, Donnie Allison. The Legends of Racing, brought to you by PD State Bank. Thanks for joining us here on ThunderSports Television. Our half hour's almost gone. I just wish we had the opportunity to interview Barney here, because, of course, he's been driving the Flintstone Flyer lately for Mike Duvall. I understand he's running on a brand new type of tire, though, Rock Stone tires. A little harder compound than most guys are using. Maybe we can talk to Fred next week. Until then, yabba dabba doo. We'll see you at Checkered Flag on today's show.
Who will be warned they could.
Howell, the current point leader in the series, was sidelined with a blown engine late in the contest. It would take him out of the points lead following the race. Mickey York, Larry Caudle going down to the final stages of the race. This is about as close as Caudle got when they came across to take the checkered flag.
Looked like he didn't have any problems at all night long.
Well, the car was loose the biggest part of the night, but I could run right on the bottom and stay pretty good. So the car was pretty good, so we're not going to complain about it. It was a tick off, but not bad.
Congratulations to Mickey York, winner tonight's WKZQ Cobra 101.
It's really hot here on the beach, but the action was really hot at Myrtle Beach Speedway this past Saturday night, of course, when Mickey York won his second race in a row in the 1994 season. Of course, that's his third victory at Myrtle Beach Speedway. That wasn't all the action that took place over the half-mile asphalt. Let's take a look at the mini stocks, the streets, and the Chargers. Mini stock division took to the racetrack. They started by the way that they drew coming into the racetrack. There were no heat races. Early going saw Mike Nelson take the green flag early and jump out to an early lead. John Wadzinski down to the bottom of the racetrack going by the Charlie Fulford car. Then Fulford has managed to come back to take over second place. Fulford would now battle with Mike Nelson down the back straightaway. Fulford would forge into the lead with Chris Lewis high on the outside. In third with Wadzinski back to fourth. Many stockers, the four-cylinder division at Myrtle Beach Speedway, putting on quite a show this past Saturday night. Fulford then starts to have problems as the man who started at the back of the pack, Jimmy Warren, comes up. Warren dives down to the inside to take over the lead going into turn 1. Wadzinski's up to third place now in the little Toyota. And then Adam Fulford blows an engine down the front straightaway to bring out the yellow flag in the mini stock race. I want to remind you that the NASCAR Goodies Dash Series race will be seen on ThunderSports Television in a special edition in its entirety in future weeks. But back to the four cylinders at Myrtle Beach. Up front, Jimmy Warren getting the pressure from Big Ed Williams. But Warren would go on to win the race at Myrtle Beach this past Saturday night in the Little Mercury Capri, picking up another victory in the four-cylinder class. Comes around to wave to everybody. After taking the checkers, he also picked up a pair of boots from J&R Leathers down in Merle's Inlet, a pair of Abilene boots to be exact. Congratulations to Jimmy. There's a look at our top 5 from Myrtle Beach. Street Stock Division Racing. Randall Roberts, Michael Miller up on the front row. Randall in the 91 car, Michael Miller in the 25. The green flag flew. And looks like Bill Hemingway was doing a little agrarian racing as he drove down into the inside of the racetrack. A little bit later, Gene Barrett and Larry Adams get together to bring out the yellow flag. Randall Roberts racing back to the stripe was the leader. Then the 21 car stalled on the track. That's Ricky Smith. He managed to bring out the yellow flag several times as Low Country Wrecker goes out to give him a shove back into the pits. The green flag flew again. This time Johnny Warren manages to get up there and race with Randall Roberts. Warren in the 98 car takes over where his brother left off in the first race, and that is in the number 1 position at this juncture. Michael Miller gets a little love tap, and he and Chucky Hucks go to the outside retaining wall. So Michael Miller's chances of a win were sidelined at that juncture. Johnny Warren goes back to the front. Randall Roberts keeps racing hard, but now Brent Brenson is racing him for second place. Brent Brenson in the 71 car goes to the high side of Randall Roberts. As the winner, Johnny Warren comes down the front straightaway. Warren taking the victory in the 98 car. This guy has won over 5 races this season at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Just another trophy for his mantle. And once again, there's a look at our top 5 from Myrtle Beach Speedway in the Street Stock Division from this past Saturday night during the WKZQ Cobra 101. Moving now to Charger racing action. Greg Hardy in the Ford Thunderbird on the front row gets the green flag early and jumps off to an early lead, but there's David Henderson battling back out of turn 4. Henderson in the 27 car takes it down into the first quarter, leading Greg Hardy, and right behind him was Ron Miller. Now watch this. A little further back, Henderson is by the 20 car, but then when Miller goes by, the 20 car tags him in the quarter panel and sent the car sideways. He gathered it back up. There was no yellow flag. So Ron Miller would take over second place. Meanwhile, the 9 car, Wade Skipper off the racetrack and back on. Watch this spin. Dale Trevathan, the highway patrolman, spins with no place to go. Dal Wright goes into the side of the car, and the 09 catches on fire. Dale Trevathan, okay. Dal Wright, well, he got neck injuries and a back injury and was treated at the Conway Hospital and later released that evening, but it totally demolished the 09 car that belongs to Dave Hamilton. Trevathan's car also suffered extensive damage in this 2-car collision at Myrtle Beach. But back up front, Ron Miller keeps challenging the 27 car. Miller gets it sideways, gets beneath David Henderson, but the car running a bit too loose. He couldn't quite get it hooked up. Henderson takes the checkered flag. His 12th win of the 1994 racing season. Second place went to Ron Miller. Good strong run for Miller, but unfortunately not good enough. Your top 5 at Myrtle Beach Speedway in the Charger Division. An exciting evening of racing during the WKZQ Cobra 101. Well, we're on the beach here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, but there's plenty of racing action around the area. Let's take a look at the racing calendar.
Turn off the tube, blow the dust off outdoors. We've got everything that you're looking for. Going all out for the great outdoors.
Okay, we gotta hurry up and get you to school, Daddy. You know what time it is?
You chose not to wear a safety belt. This is the next 60 minutes of your life.
Get those files on.
Daddy, wake up. Sweetheart, my name is Sandy. I want you to come with me, okay? Daddy? You get up. Daddy?
South Carolina's roads can be highways or dieways. The choice is yours.
I'm WPDE's Tiffany Cochran. The Caring for Tomorrow's Children program has helped to reduce South Carolina's infant mortality rate by 20% since it began in 1989. If you are pregnant, call this toll-free number to receive prenatal care information and a free coupon book. It contains $1,400 worth of free coupons for you and your baby. WPDE TV 15 is proud to be a part of the Caring for Tomorrow's Children program, along with Blue Cross Blue Shield and the South Carolina Governor's Office.
Hear the sounds of country sensation John Anderson with guest John Daniel Coe live at the Florence Civic Center, 8 p.m. August 20th. Call 1-800-231-8499.
Florence I-95 Raceway ran their regular Saturday night racing program this past Saturday night. Let's take a look at the results in all their classes. In what might have been a confusing night at Florence I-95 Raceway, Scott Pruitt won his first event of the 1994 season. Pruitt took home his first win of the year in the 20-lap Superstock feature. Harold Beasley finished second with Mike Munn, Chris Osborne, and Jimmy Johnson rounding out the top five. But that was not really how it happened. Richard Kelly actually led flag to flag in the event, and for what appeared to be his fourth win of the season, with Dunk, Stroud, Pruitt, and Beasley finishing behind him. But Beasley and protested the top three, and both Kelly and Stroud were disqualified when they refused to tear down for inspection. Pruitt did tear down, however, he was legal. So everybody moved up, and that's how your top five ended up being the way it is. Todd Kelly won his 16th race of the 1994 racing season in the late model stock car event. Second place went to Rudy Branham, third to Hal McGraw, Mitch Calhoun was fourth, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. up from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, was fifth. When the checkered flag fell on the 20-lap mini-stock event, points leader Jamie Lee was once again the winner, his 12th time this season. Dean Curtis was second, followed by James Gainey, Danny Lane, and Mark Deering rounded out the top five. In the 20-lap pure stock event, this is how they ran. Joy Harper once again won his fourth of the season. Finishing second was Trey Hall with Barry Andrews, Woody Hall, and David Blackwell rounding out the top five. One of the biggest thrills a man can have, or a woman these days, is driving a race car. Unfortunately, most people never have the opportunity to have that experience. Keith Farrell, several years ago, started going to Myrtle Beach Speedway. Being a spectator in the grandstands, he wanted to change all that and actually get out there and compete. You started off in the street division, and then you bought Ron Miller's late model stock car. And the next thing I know, you're out there taking those green flags on Saturday night at Myrtle Beach, Keith. It had to be the experience of a lifetime.
It was. I always kind of wondered what it was like to drive these things, and because of Ron Miller and some other friends, Ned Carmichael, I was able to put together a late model stock car and actually try this thing for myself. This is the closest thing to real racing. I mean, you can be in the street stock cars, and it's a different feeling, but until you actually sit in one of these and go around the track, it's a whole nother world.
When you pick up a second at Myrtle Beach Speedway per lap, or 2 seconds or 3 seconds, all of a sudden your neck starts feeling the strain. Your head wants to lean over on your shoulder. You get tired very, very quickly. You find out what kind of shape you're in. But the biggest thrill is the exhilaration of being able to race wheel to wheel with a lot of guys you've seen out there on Saturday night. What's it like?
Well, I think my real first experience racing wheel to wheel with somebody was about 4 or 5 weeks ago when I was going down the first corner and I accidentally took out the leader. That's the first time I ever really got to race with somebody and got my name in the paper for the first time. But actually racing in these cars, it's a lot more fun to me, and I'm not taking anything away from the other classes, the street stock and the four-cylinders, but to race these cars and to be able to control these cars the way they're set up, because they're set up differently, and you know that, it's a lot more fun to race because the guys out there have got better handling cars. I'm in a better handling car. I don't have to worry about the mistakes that I make so much because the car will correct itself in most situations.
What drew you to racing?
I don't know. I had a friend of mine that used to race years ago, and I used to go watch him. And I got to where I was spending so much money on his car helping him out, I totaled up my losses at the end of the year and found that I could have taken that money and built a rookie car. and raced it. So that's what I did the following year and started nickel and diming some people for sponsorship money.
One of the things that you mentioned is it takes a lot of friends to be able to go racing. Who are some of those guys that go out there and help Keith Farrell out?
Well, my main guy is Ned Carmichael. Ned stayed with me. I met Ned last year, and he stayed with me through thick and thin of my last years of driving in the rookie class, and he really got excited when I told him I was going to do this late model thing. Ron Miller has been exceptional. This guy knows more about racing, or has forgotten more about racing than I think I'll ever know. The guys at Pizza Hut have helped me out quite a bit. They were my major sponsor. They're the one that actually got this car running for me with their help from sponsorship. Tippy Morgan, Eric over there. Edward Jordan has given me more driving tips than anybody I know, and has really helped me out. He helped me changing my shocks and telling me where the setup's right and where it's wrong. The one thing I'd like for him to do sometime is actually drive this thing, because I want to see what a real driver can do in this thing. I'm just a weekend warrior. Those guys do it for real.
It's nothing like having fun on a Saturday night, and obviously you're experiencing the biggest thrill of all, and that is, of course, taking a green flag at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Best of luck in the future.
I appreciate that. Maybe sometime down the road, with support from all the fans and all, maybe we'll be able to take a checker flag one day, too.
That's what you go out there for, to win. Keith Farrell looking for his first win here in the coming weeks at Myrtle Beach Speedway. A number of our viewers have written in asking us what makes a late model stock car stock. The Winston Racing Series rules are a bit different from the rules that are written for some of the other classes. The particular car we're going to look at was originally built from scratch by a guy called Ron Miller, who lives down in Conway, South Carolina, an excellent fabricator. Several weeks ago, the misfortune of Keith Farrell, he crashed the car. They've removed the front end on it. Let's take a look at what makes it a late model stock car. The front snout is a stock General Motors product off of an early Chevelle or Camaro car. The rules have changed a bit to now allow a tubular snout, but you must carry an extra 100 pounds of weight in order to compete in this class. Stock being a lower stock control arm, whereas at the upper control arm is a tubular construction. We also have a coil over shock to be able to transfer the weight and maintain the suspension on the car. Perhaps the most stock piece is right here, and that is the stock steering box off of any of the General Motors cars. Every car competing must have a stock steering box. You cannot use what's known as a rack and pinion steering, much like the sportsman cars or some other classes that run in the area. So that's basically what makes up a late model stock car in the NASCAR Winston Racing Series. Auto racing has come a long way. In the early 1900s, Ransom Oldsmobile, Henry Ford, took their cars to Daytona on the hard-packed sands for an opportunity to see how fast they would go and if they could set a world land speed record. Sir Malcolm Campbell came with his Bluebird, and then the stock cars came in the 30s to start what eventually would be Daytona and the speeds of sand. Then it went to the Daytona 500, and this past weekend they were at Indianapolis on the famed bricks. Let's take a look at some of the action from last weekend.
Middle of the road, trying to find me. I'm standing in the middle of life with my pants behind me. I got a smile for everyone I meet. As long as you don't try dragging my bag or dropping a bomb on my street. Now, come on, baby, get to the road. Come on now, in the middle of the road, yeah. Middle of the road, you see the darndest thing. Like crackers driving round in jeeps through the city, wearing big diamond rings and silk suits. Past corrugated tin shacks full of kids. So man, I don't mean a Hampstead luxury. But when you own a big chunk of the bloody third world, the babies that come with the scenery. Now come on, baby.
From the hard-packed sands of Daytona to the famed Brickyard at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, no one ever thought that there would be stock cars on such hallowed ground. But it took place this past Saturday. What an experience, and certainly one that Jeff Gordon will long remember, as his name has been etched into the record books. From the sands of Daytona to the Brickyard at Indy, what can we say? Stock car racing has come a long way.
Okay, one more time. Sports, Bob and Ken. Do I have to spell it out for you? 2 words, 5 letters, 2 numbers. BOBKEN 15. Still confused? Hardball, round ball, pigskin, pucks, dimple ball, fuzzball. Don't forget NASCAR. 2 words, 5 letters, 2 numbers. Do you still not understand?
Summertime, and the living is hot. If you're living in a mobile home with an air conditioner that's not doing the job, summertime can be unbearable. A Miller heat pump from Jack's Mobile Home Supply is designed to fit the special needs of your mobile home and give you year-round, all-weather comfort. Jack's Mobile Home Supply, still the place to go for all your mobile home needs. And your authorized Miller heat pump distributor and a CP&L quality heat pump dealer. Expect the best from Jack.
How old do you have to be a rookie? Well, for one driver, he started his career in Germany. He was a World War II fighter pilot, got shot down. What he thought was going to be the worst day of his life turned into the best day of his life. Now he's a U.S. citizen. Back in the late 50s, he helped Tom Lupo and later Julian Richardson here in Horry County on the dirt track. 70 years old and a rookie at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Walter Luff, what's bringing you out of retirement?
Probably my mentor says brain failure.
Says brain failure. What was it like for you to race your first time at Myrtle Beach?
I had a lot of fun. I really, it was entirely different than from the grandstand. I could win almost every race from the grandstand, but when I was in there, it was a different story. It was interesting. I wasn't scared, but it was a new experience.
Did you put your foot all the way down to the firewall? Did you go as quickly as you could into turn 1? Did you turn to the left and the car almost get out from beneath you? What were your thoughts?
Well, I kind of thought it's different than flying.
Walter, over the years, was a pilot, private pilot, here in Horry County. What really brought you back to all this seriously?
I really probably hanging around with Danny and reading and hearing and seeing all his pictures, plus people like Ed, who started late and was successful. And I always wanted to do something like that, and I figured time running out on me, and I just tried it, and I love it. I have to say I love it, and thanks to you, naturally, because you were the furnisher of the car.
70 years old, Walter Luff's rather modest, you might say. For Danny Smith, the guy that raced in so many IMSA races and won a Myrtle Beach Speedway track championship and up at Little River and raced on dirt and asphalt, Walter hangs around your garage a lot, and all of a sudden Walter drags up a race car up here. You couldn't say anything but one thing, and that's, okay, I'll help you, right?
Well, that's true. You know, he stays around here all the time during the day, and a lot of the racers come in and out all day long, every day, just about during the week. And Walter always has good suggestions for them, what they're doing wrong, where they're wrong on the racetrack, and what he could do. So he started talking about doing this racing deal, and I figured that was a good way for him to understand a little more about what really goes out on the racetrack.
Well, it's amazing that Walter said that he had a lot better perspective in the grandstand than he does in the car. The other guy that's helping him is the man that's been racing out at Myrtle Beach Speedway, has won over 5 events this year in the mini stock division, and that's the division that Walter has decided to run in. Big Ed Williams. You obviously helped Walter get out there, and then Walter on the first week I thought was going to crash you out.
Yeah, I thought it was too, but I was watching out for him, and we kind of went up and down pit road a little bit and told everybody to look out for him and not to be mad if he got in the way, because it wouldn't be anything intentional. It's just because he was new at it.
Ed, what do you think about racing against a guy that's 70 years old? It's got to thrill you a little bit because you came out here and helped turn the wrench on his car, along with a fellow competitor who's now won over 5 races in the mini stock division, Jimmy Warren.
I enjoy it. There's guys out there, you know, like I say, I'm in my 30s, and there's guys out there that are 16, and there's guys that are, yes, in their 50s, 40s, and now Walter out there in his 70s. So when he's in the car, you're just passing another car. You don't know really, you don't think about who it is and how old they are. You just know it's another competitor.
Well, let's wish Walter Luff a lot of luck at Myrtle Beach Speedway, his second attempt tonight in the mini stock division. 70 years old, and yeah, you could say he's a legend of our sport. He's trying when a lot of guys are retiring. There's nothing like the high-speed world of stock car racing. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's show with all the action from Myrtle Beach Speedway and the Goodies NASCAR Dash Series. Of course, next week we'll have the action from Lakeview Speedway, Florence I-95 Raceway, and the regular weekly show at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Till next week, I'm Bill Hennessy for ThunderSports Television. Remember, we'll see you at the races.
Give me Bob. Give me Ken. Give me Charles. Give me that, not that. Give me Jack, Arnold, and the Shark. Give me The Rock. Give me the Dream, Morning, and Shaq. Give me that. Don't give me that. Give me Justice, Griffin, Smoltz. Give me the Track. Give me Rusty, Dale, and Ernie. Give me that, not that. Give me the Ball. Give me Troy, Joe, and Primetime. Give me that. Don't give me that. Give me Bob. Give me Ken. Give me Charles. If it's in the game, it's in the game. 15 Sports. It's in the game.
Let the bass kick.
If you're a Bell South Mobility customer and see a potential news story, call the 15 newsroom at star 8815. Bell South Mobility and WPDE 15 News, teaming up to keep you informed. From the WPDE newsroom, this is 15 News, live on the hour.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kip Diggs. A Republican senator says it's time to raise the white flag as the Senate meets in a rare Saturday session on health reform. William Cohen of Maine is appealing to both sides to find middle ground. And hot weather, drugs, and violent dancing are keeping doctors and nurses busy at Woodstock 94 in Saugerties, New York. The toll so far, 1 dead and 400 injured. We'll have more news coming up in just 1 hour. Keep it right here.
Last Monday night, longtime friends Lex Luger and Tatanka nearly came to blows. SummerSlam is just 2 weeks away, and the accusations continue to fly concerning the relationship between Lex Luger and Ted DiBiase. Has the man made in the USA sold out to the $1 Million Man? Tatanka says, yes, he has.